let me shift here, and I just want to talk a little bit about silence. Silence, my sisters and brothers, has many dimensions. There is a sacred silence, which is that silence out of which creative contemplation grows. It's a meditation on the word and the will of God. It's the silence out of which we meditate and get closer to God. It's the silence in which fervent prayer is born. There is a sacred silence. But then there's a seething silence that comes when you are quiet externally, but you've got a storm going on the inside. The late Dr. Howard Thurman called that a noisy quietness. But then finally, and here's the silence I want to get to, there is a sinful silence. And Adam's silence falls into this category because a sinful silence is a silence that comes over you when you ought to say something, but you don't say nothing at all. It is that silence that creeps in when you ought to speak up for God, but you sit there acting like you don't know what God said. My sisters and brothers, I fear that Adam was not only silent on that fateful day in the garden when a serpent showed up, but Adam has remained silent through the centuries. When Africans were captured and taken from their homeland, packed in the hulls of ships, sold on auction blocks, beat and killed and misused and kept in chattel slavery, Adam was silent. When Jews were persecuted, deported, and murdered by Nazis, Adam was silent. When Native Americans were slaughtered in the acts of genocide so their land could be taken from them, Adam was silent. When our ancestors were lynched and called boy and girl, even though they were full grown, when they were denied employment and equal access to resources, Adam was silent. And today, far too often, when our boys are shooting and killing each other on the streets, and our girls suffer from low self-esteem and give birth to children whose daddies won't stay around to take care of them, Adam is still silent. Sisters and brothers, there is a sinful silence among us when injustice is raging and we remain quiet. When people are aching, when people are hurting, when babies are crying and dying of hunger and not having enough love from insufficient care, and we remain silent, that is a sinful silence. When the church looks and sees what's going on in its communities, and not just in its communities, but what's going on right there in the household of faith, and we sit there and act like we don't know what's going on, that is a sinful silence. And let me suggest that there's a time when silence is sinful. And here in the text, we see a snake talking to Adam's wife. Adam remains silent. Adam should have said something. My sisters and brothers, the nation is waiting for somebody to say something. Go on, touch your neighbor and tell him you ought to say something. You see them boys on the corner, you ought to say something. You see what's happening with those sisters. I'm not talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and them. I'm talking about the saints' children. Y'all ain't gonna help me in here today. You ought to say something. The classroom is waiting for somebody to say something. Youth violence is waiting for somebody to say something. Every community, every city, every town, every home, every boy, every girl, every family is waiting for the church to break the silence. And if we don't break the silence, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we don't break the silence, we end up embracing the appeals of the serpent. What are the appeals of the serpent? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Just because you made it to the palace, bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. It's all right if you got it now, just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You've got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now, may not get it next week, and you might try to stop me from getting it, but if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me. Sometimes God got to strip what you got so you depend on yourself. He got to take away from you so you understand how to depend on El Shaddai. Come on in here. Thank you, Jesus. Our young people are dying. Cracked out.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 4 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. I want to thank my friend, Mr. Kenneth Barnett, for bringing us up into the 9 o'clock hour with The Promise. You can hear The Promise every Monday morning, bringing you the best in gospel music from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Good way to start out your Monday morning. Great way to start out your week with some inspiration and empowerment. Well, here we are in my area. Tomorrow is election day. I hope y'all are going to collect your cousins and all get out there. If you haven't already voted during early voting, that you're going to get out there and vote. We're electing a city council, a school committee, those offices that affect your quality of life issues right where it hits you right here at home. Where you can calculate exactly how it's affecting you in a very tangible way. And so we want you to get out and vote on tomorrow. Listen, I got a very provocative subject today, as we always do. But I call this show Rittenhouse, Reparations, and Racism. All right. Some developments in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. There's a crazy judge who said that the people that Kyle Rittenhouse murdered, that the defense cannot refer to them as victims. Okay. Excuse me. The prosecutors cannot refer to them as victims, but Kyle Rittenhouse's defense lawyers can refer to them as rioters, looters, and arsonists. We already know what direction this trial is going in. It's crazy. Reparations. Joe Biden's administration is in conversation with lawyers for the families that were separated at the border under the Trump administration, and they're talking about giving them $450,000 each. Nearly $500,000 of family. Black people can't even get a discussion about reparations. But we're giving migrants that were separated at the border $500,000. Oh, Arsenio Hall used to say things that make you go, And racism is still running rampant in these yet to be United States of America. Tell a friend, tell somebody. Bishop Swan is on the air right now. I need you all who are on our social media sites to like, share, subscribe. You can even give. But definitely do that. Let somebody know you're on here. Rep your city, rep your town. I see you all. Good morning. Angela Thorpe, good morning. Stephanie Johnson, Jillian, good morning. Kathy Swanson, my good friend all the way from Michigan, the Bishop, Dwight Eugene Wall Sr., Chairman of the Trustee Board for the Church of God in Christ, is in tune. Good morning, Bishop. Hayward Hamilton is in here. Pia Worsley is in here. Samantha is in here. Trey Brooks is in here. Do me a favor once again, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Love to know what part of the country or the world that you are in from. So do that for me. Coming up at 1:30 is Senator Eric Lesser with our State House update, our Massachusetts State House update. Coming up at 10 o'clock, we morph into Justice and Flow. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about election during that hour. So tell somebody, hey, get your breakfast sandwich, get your coffee, get your tea. Matter of fact, I made me some tea this morning. That's good. Get your tea, all that stuff, and let's get it crunk. Bishop is on the air. Don't you dare go nowhere. Let me see what I want to play for it to inspire you this morning. How about let's do some Ferris Hill. Don't stop. All right, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Don't go nowhere. All right.
The essence of life is to grow. But the essence of growth has changed. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change.
Reach a little higher, reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, come on, yeah. Dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, but don't stop. The essence of life is growth. but the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for the better. For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up until this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have a whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on.
Reach a little higher,
reach a little higher,
dig a little deeper,
dig a little deeper,
go a little further,
don't stop,
don't stop,
come on,
don't
reach a
stop,
little higher,
reach a little higher,
dig a little deeper,
dig a little deeper,
go a little further,
go a little further,
don't stop, don't stop,
don't stop.
So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head and control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down, let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on.
Dig a little deeper,
Come on. Yeah.
go a little further,
Go a little further. Come on.
don't stop,
Come on. Yeah.
reach a little higher,
Reach a little higher.
dig a little deeper,
Dig a little deeper.
go a little further,
Go a little further. Come on. Come on. Come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You gotta push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you wanna go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Blessings are coming your way.
Right around the corner, there's a blessing waiting on
Go a
you.
little further.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Don't stop until you get your dream. Don't stop. Get your dream.
I'm feeling that Ferris Hill, y'all.
Dream. Come on.
All right, let me get a little bit
Don't
of
stop until you get your
Robert
dream.
Swan in here
Stop.
before we get into this discussion.
Come on. Yeah.
I like what I see.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, and stolen from and hit me, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. I was above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, He came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
All right, 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Sorry, y'all. I'm having my breakfast. Got to get a little something when I'm going to be on here for a couple of hours. You know, I need to get a little sustenance in, because it's going to be a minute before I can get some lunch or anything like that. So I just consider myself serving the people, so I gotta eat, y'all. All right, 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. I see Marilyn in the house. Good morning, Whitney, my baby girl. Well, grown baby girl with 3 of her own baby girls from the Chi-Town is in here. I got Marilyn in the house. I got Tennessee. Carmel, Tennessee, to be specific. Got a couple folks from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I got Oakland. I got Berkeley, California. I got Australia up in here. Got Georgia in the house. Yes, sir. I got Pensacola, Florida. They say Pensacola is actually the rainiest city in the United States, rainier even than Seattle. Anyway, just some random information. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know exactly what part of the world you're chiming in from. East Windsor, Connecticut. All right, right here locally. Good morning to you. Good morning, Deacon Lovejoy. We need to have a conversation, Deacon. It's that time of the year again. You know, all them leaves is off the trees. Good morning, Candace Jones. Good morning to the Reverend Pastor Jesse Burgess is in the house today. Good morning, Betty, Juanita, all of y'all. Sheldon Barnes, I see you. All the way, Indiana, Carmel, Indiana, up in the house. 413-337-1867. If you're in the Twitter space, you can definitely put in your request. I already got one up in here. And Facebook audio. All right. Facebook audio is in the house as well. So all kinds of ways that you can chime in. I'm trying to, you know, they keep on, you know, the social media sites play so many games. Instagram has stopped me from being able to go live. I made a comment based on factual data about crime in America, to debunk this notion that black people commit the most amount of crime, and they restricted my account and told me I was banned temporarily from going live. Now, I don't know what temporarily means, because it's been 3 weeks already. So, you know, who knows what temporarily means nowadays. So I don't know. So anyway, so I try to go get as many as I can to always give you alternatives, because you never know when I might say something that offends the powers that be, and they try to restrict my reach so I can't get to y'all. Boy, I tell you, man, the silencing of voices of dissent still goes on in 2021. But yet the white supremacists are all over the place. All over the place. I mean, you can say N-word with reckless abandon on all over social media, but they're now flagging posts that mention mayonnaise because white folks are offended about being called mayonnaise. So the social media sites are legitimately, for real though, I'm serious. They're flagging posts that mention mayonnaise. You can call me a nigger until the cows come home and they ain't gonna bother you. But you say mayonnaise. Oh my goodness. Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Good morning, minister. How are you, sir? So listen. 10 minutes. I'm going to bring on Senator Eric Lesser to talk about the State House update here in Massachusetts. But this Kyle Rittenhouse trial that hadn't even started got off to a typical start, in my estimation. Typical start. Here's a 17-year-old white boy who gunned down 3 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin during a protest against racism and police brutality. Illegally carrying a gun. And here's the thing. You got white folks all over that are defending this dude. I mean, vociferously defending this dude, claiming it's self-defense. Now Kyle didn't live in Wisconsin. He lived in Illinois. He came across state lines with an illegal firearm, okay? Claiming he was protecting property that he didn't own. Shot 3 people, and y'all really running around here trying to defend this clown. And you got so-called Christian groups that raised $1 million for his defense fund. Shot 3 people, killed 2 of them. He's white, of course. So were those he shot, but they were protesting for Black Lives Matter. So just make the connection. He used an AR-style semi-automatic rifle. Killed 2 people. Wounded a 3rd. Alright? Once again, he claimed he went to protect property that he didn't own. He had nothing to do with anything. Nothing to do with anything. His defense is claiming he fired in self-defense. That he was attacked by protesters. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And maybe you can help me with this. Maybe you can help me understand. This is what I know. I've been to many protests. I've led many protests. I've been part of the planning of many protests, both here locally and across the nation. And in most instances, the people that I've attended protests with, when they see a dude, or if they see a dude carrying an AR automatic rifle, they're not attacking him. And see, this is where, what was that old saying? My name ain't Willie Lump Lump. This is the craziness of it. They think we're that stupid. Protesters are not running towards, are not attacking a dude carrying around an automatic weapon. But that's the defense. He shot people that attacked him. Yeah. I ain't got no weapon or nothing. I'm running to attack the dude right there that got the automatic weapon that can kill me. Come on, man. Come on. Stop it. Stop it. When Philando Castile was killed by cops who claimed they felt threatened because he had a firearm in his car. A firearm that he told them was in the car. And that he told them, I have a license for. But they killed him. The NRA and the pro-gun groups said nothing. To this day, the Second Amendment folks, the pro-gun lobby, none of them have said anything to defend a licensed gun owner murdered by police. Why? Because he was black. This ain't about no gun rights and all that stuff. This is about black and white. Period. Now, by contrast, pro-gun conservatives helped to raise $2 million for Kyle Rittenhouse's bail and defense. $2 million. Then after he got out of jail, he was photographed with members of the Proud Boys. Now let me just say this. If Kyle Rittenhouse gets off, that's going to yet again send an ominous message to Black America. If this nation once again shows you can shoot people who support Black Lives Matter, murder them, and walk away, this country can never call itself standing up in any international or global hearing to talk about human rights ever again. Ever again. You know, it's almost like they want to give white people the license to ride down any street in any black community and have fun like they're hunting or something. And speaking of hunting, you know, they use that as an excuse for Kyle Rittenhouse having the gun. They use that to justify him having a gun because it was hunting season. Even though he don't live in Wisconsin, even though he has no license to carry a firearm, they said it was hunting season. So what were you hunting? People who support Black Lives Matter? Oh, my goodness. It's crazy the things that they come up with. Let me bring AB up in the Twitter space before I bring the senator on. AB, you're in the Twitter space.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're on the air.
I just want you to know, I just started following you, and I truly love what is going on and what basically talk about, you know, and on my specific case, you know, I'm going through a similar case, what's going on. I just found out that 14 years, I had been investigated by the FBI.
Okay.
For espionage. You know, I am a Haitian American. I'm 34 years old. I've never go to jail. I've never done anything in this country, and to be wake up one day now I'm under investigation for 14 years that the United States government believed that I was alive in China, and even after all that, I still can't find me a lawyer with me because I'm being under high FBI. So, lots of things that you say or you talk about, it don't matter what, 34 years, I have never go to jail, I have never disrespected the law, I have never did, and I wake up one day and find out I have been investigated by FBI, and I can't find me a lawyer. Everywhere I go, ask for a lawyer that can help me. I have people that are willing to talk, that FBI are investigating me, but I cannot find a lawyer that will help me, that can bring that to the court. But I'm being under high. Thank you.
Wow. That's deep. And I feel for you, brother, and I'm praying that you're able to find the help that you need. I'm not surprised by it. They have been surveilling black people, investigating them for extemporaneous reasons for years. Of course, we know about the infamous COINTELPRO counterintelligence program of the U.S. government, where they put black individuals and groups under surveillance, tried to destabilize their organizations and their movements, from the Black Panthers to MLK to Malcolm X, etc. The Trump administration came up with a new category just so that they could do surveillance on black people, on black activists, on Black Lives Matter. They came up with a new term called Black Identity Extremists. And under Trump's two attorney generals, first Jeff Sessions and then Bill Barr, they turned the focus away from investigating white supremacist groups, even though the FBI director said the most dangerous terror threat in America were white supremacists. They turned their focus onto so-called black identity extremists. I'm sure, I haven't checked it out, but there's a file somewhere on me. That's how they do, and that's what they've been doing. Let me bring Senator Lesser on, and then we'll get back into our conversation. Senator Eric Lesser, Massachusetts Senate, comes on every first Monday to give us our State House update. Good morning, Senator.
Hey, good morning, Bishop. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
How was Halloween? Morning after Halloween here. So.
Oh, I have no idea. I had church yesterday, and I took a nap after church and did some work after the nap. So, and I didn't open the door for anybody because we didn't have candy anyhow.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, it's a big holiday in my household with 3 little kids. So
yeah, I got one left, and he's a high schooler. Everybody else is out of the house. Well, I got 2. One is on campus. Now I did see pictures of my grandchildren who apparently were having a good time.
Yeah, I was gonna say now you got the grandkids in the costumes, so that's
absolutely.
That's a whole nother. Well, good morning. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
So we're in a really crazy period in the legislature right now. So our session deadline is November 17th. So after that, we go out for Thanksgiving and for the holidays. Come back in January. So there's really kind of a mad dash right now. Just in the last few weeks, the Senate passed a major voting rights bill. So I know you and I have talked about this before, but a lot of the things that we tried during COVID, for example, universal access to vote by mail, early voting, at least 3 early voting dates, including weekend dates, and also automatic voter registration on the day of the election, we're now going to make permanent. So that was a Senate bill. We're waiting on the House to follow suit on that, but that's pending. Also, very big news. Last week, the House finally put together the plan for the Biden rescue money, the ARPA bill.
Okay.
So that wrapped up last week, and a lot of great stuff actually coming back to Springfield and to Western Mass that our House colleagues were able to get done. The Senate's going to be working on that this week, and we're planning to do our vote next week, so the week of Veterans Day week. So that's exciting, because then we're going to then hopefully get that reconciled, get it to the governor's desk so that money can start flowing, which is really good.
What's the dollar figure looking like for Springfield and Western Mass?
So the figure keeps creeping up, of course. So the total amount allocated is $5 billion, a little over $5 billion for Massachusetts from that March rescue package. We're going to be spending about $3 billion of it total, keeping $2 billion for subsequent years and maybe for some, expenses that might come up down the road. It's a little bit hard to calculate, exactly how much is going to go to Springfield and Western Mass, because so many of the programs are statewide, but are going to help us a lot. So in particular, we're going to be doing funding for the food bank of Western Mass. We're going to be doing significant funding for housing, including wayfinders. They're going to be able to 2-3x their budget for some of their programs, which is a very big deal. We're also going to be doing a lot of support for human service workers, in particular nursing homes, home health aides, that workforce that was really, really hard hit through COVID and really deserves a bump up. For example, we're going to do a $500 million bonus payment to frontline low-wage workers who worked in person all through COVID. So that's going to range from a couple $100 in some cases to as much as $2,000 in a kind of one-time thank you bonus. Again, it's going to be kind of geared towards nursing home workers, home health, assisted living centers, people working, in the sort of blue collar roles and in the service roles at Bay State and at the other big hospital systems. So there's going to be a lot in there to unpack, and we're going to be debating more of it next week as well in the Senate.
Okay. Now the state ARPA money, is that flowing through the municipalities, or is that going directly to organizations? And are you all able to put in there allocations direct to organizations within your districts?
Really good question, because there's a lot of kind of different terms and moving pieces. So there's two buckets of ARPA money, or ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. This is the Biden plan that passed in March. So one bucket is going to states and is being allocated by the states. In some states, it's directly being done by the governor. In Massachusetts, the legislature kind of took control of it, obviously in coordination with the governor. But that bucket is separate from the money that was sent directly to cities. So, for example, Springfield got a little over $100 million from that same appropriation. That money is under the control of the city government. So the mayor, obviously in collaboration with the city council, they are two different streams. And part of the reason why it's taken some time is we want to make sure we're not duplicating, right? So things that the city is doing, we don't want to duplicate on a state level. Things the state's doing, the city doesn't want to duplicate. In addition to that, and we can't do earmarks for the ARPA money because there's some very strict federal limits on what you can and can't spend on. But in addition to ARPA, we have what's called a supplemental budget, or we have a sub budget, which is basically an extra appropriation we're doing on top of the regular FY22 budget. This gets a little technical, but the bottom line is we are able to do local priorities and earmarks through that. So that's, for example, where some of these programs I mentioned that my House colleagues were able to secure. That gives us the opportunity to do funding for like community-based groups, local organizations, the food pantries, like just for example, I was at Community Music School last week where they have an adaptive music program, try to help special ed students in the Springfield schools learn music. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's really, Bishop, it really is a once in a generation opportunity. Not to overstate it, but the amount of resources that are coming in, we've really just got to be very proactive about making sure that we're keeping them local.
Gotcha. So tomorrow, and that's good news about the voting rights, because although a lot of things were put in place specifically for COVID, I've grown accustomed to say there is no going back to what we called normal, that we now have a new normal, and some of the things that were instituted during this pandemic are here to stay. And I figured that some of those um, endeavors during voting would be here to stay. We have an election tomorrow. Someone called in last week and they wanted to know what about Eric Lesser? Who did he endorse? You got him on your show every week. Why don't you ask him? I encouraged them to ask, but since I got you on here, is there anyone you directly endorsed in this municipal election?
That's a great question. I tend to try to stay out of municipal elections, but I do work really closely with several city councilors, who are on the ballot. Certainly Justin Hurst, someone I've worked closely with over many years, Victor Davila. So there's a lot of great counselors who I've worked really closely with, and I'm excited about. But outside of that, I'm relieved that in the odd number of election years, I get to kind of sit back and watch. So just trying to make sure I can work well with whoever wins. But definitely Victor and Justin. I really think highly of both of them. And again, they've been real partners on a lot of big issues, including police reform, including the rail advocacy, including a lot of the support for the hospitals and human service workers we've been doing. So I don't know. Do you have any predictions? What do you think is going to happen in Holyoke?
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting race, and we're gonna wait and see
Yeah.
exactly what happens.
I am excited. I mean, I've been watching Boston pretty closely too, just because it's so important for the kind of tone of the rest of the state, right? What happens in Boston. And Michelle Wu, who's someone I knocked on doors for her when she was running for city council back in 2013. I was in law school, so I went over. I remember we were knocking in West Roxbury, I think, and I think the world of her. So I'm excited for her. And she's a big advocate of East-West Rail Service, so we'll have a partner hopefully. If she's the mayor in Boston on some investments for us too, which would be a big deal.
Gotcha. All right. Give our audience your contact information.
Yeah, well, again, as always, the phone number is 413, of course, 526-6501. Again, 526-6501. You can also reach me by email, eric.lesser@masenate.gov. On Twitter, @Eric Lesser. On Instagram, @Eric Lesser MA. On Facebook, Eric Lesser MA. So any old-fashioned phone call or just stop me or come visit, in person is okay too. I know that was discouraged for a bit during COVID, but we're moving back to being back to normal, so that's good too. But any of those ways you can reach me.
Sounds good. All right. Well, enjoy the holiday and the long break. I'm kind of jealous. You guys get out in November.
Well, yeah, I know. As you know well, like just because you're not in session doesn't mean you're not fully on break. But some people make that mistake and they get themselves in some trouble come election time. But we got a lot going on, and no, it's an exciting time, a hard time for sure, but an exciting time too because we got a lot of cool and exciting initiatives to be on the lookout for.
All right, Senator, always a pleasure.
All right, take care, Bishop. See ya.
Take care. All right, that was Senator Eric Lesser giving us our Massachusetts State House update. Try to keep us on par with everything that's happening here in the Commonwealth. Once again, 413-337-1867. 413-337-1867. Been talking about the Rittenhouse case. I got 17 minutes left in the spoken word, and I entitled this Rittenhouse, Reparations, and Racism. So let me just kind of get through this Rittenhouse thing so I can at least touch on my other 2 points that I wanted to get to. Good morning, Tyrell. Good morning, people. I see y'all. Once again, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Rittenhouse's lawyers have said he's not a white supremacist. His defense fund said he wasn't part of a militia group, but he's taking pictures with the Proud Boys. Okay. All right. There's a racial double standard. When you look at how the Jacob Blake case was handled in Kenosha and how the Kyle Rittenhouse case, Jacob Blake was shot 7 times and paralyzed at the door of his SUV while his children sat in the back seat. Okay? And they determined that the cop who shot him would not face prosecution. So anyway, Rittenhouse got a different response from law enforcement. Now, just think about it. Jacob Blake, they said, had a pocket knife in his pants. Okay? It supposedly fell out of his pants as he was getting in the car. He didn't come at the police with a pocket knife. He was getting in his car where his children were. And they claimed the pocket knife fell out of his pants, was justified the cop shooting him 7 times in the back. Kyle Rittenhouse was carrying an AR semi-automatic rifle in plain sight. It didn't fall out his pants. They didn't have to guess whether or not he was armed. He was a 17-year-old kid running around the streets with a rifle. And cops was giving him water. High-fiving him. Telling him what a great job he was doing. Black man who a pocket knife falls out of his pocket, allegedly, gets bucked down by a cop 7 times. A white boy with a rifle running around after shooting and murdering 2 people. The cops let him walk away. And y'all trying to tell me there ain't no double standard in terms of how black people are treated and white folks are treated? Y'all really sitting there with a straight face still telling me that nonsense? When Jacob Blake was rushed to the hospital, they handcuffed him to his bed. Handcuffed him to his bed. The judge said the pocket knife falling out of his pocket justified self-defense. But white boys can run around the streets of Kenosha with guns, and the police say nothing. Nothing. Come on, people. We know what's going to happen in this trial. Already the judge has set the stage by saying that the prosecutors cannot refer to the people that he shot. The 2 people he murdered cannot be referred to as victims, because victims is a loaded word. This is what the judge said. But Kyle Rittenhouse's defense lawyers can refer to them as rioters, looters, and arsonists. Can't be referred to as victims, but they can be referred to as rioters, looters, and arsonists. You already know where this trial is going just by the Klansman that's sitting on the bench as the judge in this case. So don't act surprised when he's having a beer with George Zimmerman, high-fiving each other. They ought to collaborate and write a book, entitle it How to Get Away with Murder. Be white, shoot somebody black or somebody protesting on behalf of black people. Seems like that's the formula in America with how to get away with murder. Four 1-3-337-1867. So I got 10 minutes. Let me deal with this reparations issue. Thousands of migrant parents and children that were separated from each other at the U.S. border by the Trump administration may soon be eligible for hundreds of thousands of dollars per person in compensation, according to sources that are familiar with ongoing negotiations in a lawsuit brought on behalf of the separated families. It was reported by the Wall Street Journal and several other publications that the Biden administration is in talks to offer separated migrant parents and children about $450,000 per person. Let me say that one more again. $450,000 per person. Let me break that down so you get the understanding. If I'm a migrant parent and you snatch two of my kids, that's three people. That means we're going to get over $1.3 million. 450, if there was four people involved, that's $1.8 million. $450,000 per person. If it's a parent and one child, a combined payment of $900,000. These talks are part of negotiations between the Justice Department and lawyers representing the separated families. Now, here is my problem. I'm not saying that families separated at the border should not receive something. I'm not saying that. But Biden's administration won't even have a conversation about reparations for the black descendants of enslaved Africans who worked for 246 years for no compensation, forced slave labor, and whose descendants have gone another 155 years with Jim Crow, segregation, brutalization, dehumanization, mass incarceration. And they won't even have a conversation about reparations, but they got money for everybody else. $5 billion to support an anti-Asian hate law. $6 billion to resettle Afghan refugees. $3 billion a year to Israel so they can continue apartheid. $12 million recently to Holocaust survivors, and America wasn't even responsible for the Holocaust. They got money for everybody except the black people who put these Democrats in office. Now they're talking about $450,000 a person for those separated at the border under the Trump administration, but we can't talk about reparations for black people? Every time it comes to reparations, it's too controversial. You can pay $1.6 billion to the Japanese that were interred during World War II, $32 million to the Ottawas of Michigan, $31 million to the Chippewas of Wisconsin, $12.3 million to the Seminoles in Florida, $105 million to the Sioux of South Dakota. The list goes on. And 81 million to the Clamass of Oregon, $1 billion and 44 million acres of land to Alaska natives, but $0 to African American descendants of slaves. Why are reparations only controversial when it comes to black people? Not controversial when it comes to anybody else. We are literally sitting here talking about giving $450,000 per person to those separated at the border. $450,000 per person. But when it comes to reparations to black people, America can't afford it, and why should we? And we nobody owned any slaves that's still alive, and all of that foolishness. And hey, Carlos Rivera, I see you watching me. Y'all look out for him. Those that are on Facebook, he is one of those coon Latinos who's always all over my page, talking noise and putting up coonish type of comments and stuff. He did it first thing this morning when the announcement came out about the live stream. I see you, Carlos. I see you cooning. I see you surveilling the live stream. We see you. I'm just letting the people know who on Facebook, Carlos Rivera's a coon. 4 minutes left in the spoken word. Y'all don't act surprised. Y'all already know me. If you didn't know me, you wouldn't be here right now. 4 minutes left in the spoken word. 413-337-1867. In the Twitter space, send me your request to get on. I see you over in Facebook audio room. Good morning to everybody who's listening over the 4,000 watts on WTCC. For those on WTCC, listen, if you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ. We're located at 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. And we worship at, we'll come on in at 10:30 for Sunday school. And then check us out at 11 o'clock for our morning worship experience. Always a good time, always empowering. We've had two back-to-back empowering Sundays. We dealt with this past Sunday domestic violence awareness. Last Sunday we dealt with breast cancer awareness. So we had two powerful services. If you missed them, you can go back to our Facebook or our YouTube page and check out the live stream. I see somebody saying to block him, my daughter. I'm going to make you an administrator, Whitney. I keep saying that, but you keep forgetting to remind me. So then you can block all of the trolls. My daughter is one of my chief defenders. She goes toe to toe with some of these white supremacists. I'd be worried about her, but so I can't stop her. I guess she got some of her daddy in her. So coming up very shortly, in 2 minutes, we're going to transition over into Justice and Flow. Again, NAACP meets every fourth Tuesday at 6 p.m. Go to naacpspringfield.org. You can join right there and become a part of the solution. All right, let me get out of the way. Let me move out of the spoken word and get ready to transition into Justice and Flow. Those of you who are streaming with me, don't go nowhere. Those of you who are on the radio, jump on your device and join us over here on the social media side and remain a part of the conversation. So until the next time I talk to you and to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. We'll be right back. Welcomes.
I's back. I'm back home. Well, that's home too. But I'm back from home. I'm back from Dallas. Yay. Yay. Hey, y'all. Hey, Springfield and the bride. I'm back home. I'm back to this home. Good morning. Carlos Rivera said that's the wrong one. He said, no. I'm a different one. That's what he said. That's what he said on here.
Sorry, Carlos. I'm sorry if that's not. There's another dude named Carlos Rivera who's been trolling me. Apparently, it's not you. It is a common name, so I apologize if you're the wrong one. So y'all leave this Carlos alone, okay? Y'all leave this Carlos alone. It's the other Carlos.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Wit. Hi, Juanita. Hey, Angela. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I'm back and I'm trying to stay in good spirits and high spirits, especially with what we got going on. It is hot in here in the city of Springfield. So much is going on concerning this election. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to speak to my people. I'm speaking to black folk. We need to turn this vote out like never before. We got more than enough registered voters to do it too, but we need to turn this vote out like never before. If we don't, we're going to be in a world, like the old folks would say, a world's of trouble. A world's of trouble.
Well, it's tomorrow, y'all, and
Election day is tomorrow.
and it's not just. Let me find out real quick because I know it's not just Massachusetts. There are elections happening in various locations across um, the country. I'm just trying to find out real quick which states.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I'm not trying to be funny. You can find that out, but I just know this. All of my energy, all of my focus is right now on where I live, where my children were raised and being raised, where my grandchildren, some of my grandchildren are here and being raised. So I'm sure that there are municipal elections happening all across the country, but the one that's happening right here at home is a primary, and it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy what they're trying to do to these black candidates. It's obvious the racism. It's obvious the attack on certain candidates. So all of my energy, all of my conversation, everything right now is definitely on what's happening right here in Springfield and what's at stake right
of
here
course,
in
of
Springfield.
course. I'm looking it up really just for the benefit of those from other places who may be tuned in, because of course, even though we're focusing on our local elections, we know that we have listeners that come from around the country. Um, so I know there's Arizona has a special elect. I don't think I got it here. I saw some California people on here. There's a local ballot measure election tomorrow in California. Well, there's several elections happening in California. There's elections in Florida, Georgia, House of Representatives special election. I don't think we got no Iowa folk or Kansas folk. Um, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, North Carolina, Montana, New Hampshire. There are elections happening in New York and Ohio. So anyway, as I stated, I won't call off all the states, but Pennsylvania, even in Texas, there are elections happening tomorrow all over the country. So for those of you who aren't here in Massachusetts and aren't here in Springfield, who have an election happening in your neck of the woods, please pay attention and get out there and vote, vote, vote. Let me see. It looks like I got somebody who's in the back room. You expecting guests?
Well, the Dream Team, the first ever produced and inspired Black Slate, because this is the largest number of Black candidates ever in the history of Springfield running for municipal office. So they certainly have been invited to chime in if they would like. I think with today, well, I absolutely believe with today being our last Monday, last opportunity to get the word out about how important and how critical this election is to our livelihood and to the residents of Springfield, Massachusetts. I've given them opportunity to call in and chime in on the conversation today. But this is what I wanted to say about the Black Slate before you bring any of them up today. This is what I wanted to say about the Black Slate. First of all, I'm so proud of them. I've been learning a whole lot about this game of politics. But what I found out about these individuals is that they're not playing games. They're not playing games. This they're running because they love their community, because they love their people, and they want to see what's right, what's just, what's fair, concerning our people, and not only our people, but for the city of Springfield. Because when you do right by Black people, research has proven this. When you do right by Black people, in this country, you automatically do right by all people. And I do think that there are certain levels of voters that are out there, whether Black, white, Asian, Latina, Latino, or whatever, that get that and understand that. So it behooves them. It behooves our voters to understand and to know, not just to vote for people based on an agenda, or certainly based on racism or white supremacy, because we definitely have that element out there, but to vote for the right people. And in this case, I firmly believe that these 8 Black candidates are the best candidates for these specific seats here in the city of Springfield. And we know who they are. The at-large candidates would be Justin Hurst and Chasey Whitfield. Yes, at large. And we know that there are 10 people running for at-large city council. You can vote for up to 5. You don't have to vote for up to 5. That was some misinformation that was given. It was accidentally given to me when I went to early vote. One of the poll workers said to me, "You need to vote for 5 people for at-large candidate." I said, I don't have to vote for 5 people. I can vote for the people that I want to see, or whatever. So, I said, I don't have to vote for 5. She was like, oh, yeah. You don't have to vote for 5. I was like, okay, well, make sure that you're giving the right information to voters. So, that's something else that I found out about. I also found out that there are some Black candidates out there, some sitting political figures that are basically encouraging Black voters to bullet vote for some white at-large candidates, and that is against Tracy and Justin. I don't want to say no name because I don't want to give them any power. However, just know that it's certain things out there that are happening, and I've seen for myself. One other thing before you bring those up that are in the back, sweetheart, is that I seen this for myself as well. I've seen the mayor. I've seen people who are sitting on the school committee endorse not only a novice, but in my humble opinion, someone who is completely ignorant to the school district. And I don't know if we want to just use the word racist, but definitely upholding white supremacist ideals and construct. And what I mean by that is this woman, I don't want to say her name again, but this woman who is running.
Let's say what's it, Curly?
Yeah,
something.
Curry, whatever her name, Carrie Curly, whatever her name. Anyway, she is running for school committee at large. Here's the problem. The problem is, first of all, she's a practicing attorney. That's number one. Number two, she was at a forum. Myself, Tracy Whitfield, and a couple other people asked some basic questions that she could not answer. The first question was, can you give us the racial makeup of the school district? She did not know. So it's like, okay, wait a minute. You running for school committee and you don't even know what the student body racial makeup is? You couldn't answer that basic question. That's a basic question. That's a basic research question. Like all of us who was at the forum we knew that answer, or whatever. And we're not running for school committee at large. She's running for school committee at large. So we know when she couldn't even answer that basic question.
Okay.
And she had a script as well, so, articulate script, whatever the case may be. But she couldn't answer that question. And she also couldn't answer the question about school to prison pipeline. Tracy Whitfield asked her that question about school to prison pipeline. And of course, I had a couple of backup questions at another forum. She still had not done her research and could not answer the question about the school to prison pipeline and her thoughts on the school to prison pipeline and racism in the educational system and this, that, and the other. But what she did say was that she was proud to be married to a police officer, and she wanted to see more police officers in the schools. She said that. And then she also was proud to say that she did believe that there should be surveillance cameras in the schools and that the police department should have first dibs at the surveillance cameras in the school. But wait a minute. My problem is the mayor is endorsing her, proudly endorsing her. Is other sitting city council people that's proudly endorsing her. And all of the other, except for the Black women on the school committee, they're endorsing her. So it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, endorsing her, that means that you want to get rid of Denise or LaTonya.
So let me say this, and then we need to bring our guests on. I said this, and someone asked me about it. I'm pretty straightforward. I've never been the type to throw a stone and hide my hand. I own my words. When I saw this lady's campaign material, and when I was looking at her campaign material, I saw on her campaign material several people who had endorsed her, and there were several pictures of them and blurbs from them about why people should vote for Carrie Curley. And one of those persons was Maria Perez.
Right.
And I did speak to I called several members of the Latino leadership community, elected and other people in their community, spoke with a couple of them. And I said, I posted, that Maria Perez is the collective choice of Latino leadership in the Springfield community to fill the council seat that was vacated when Adam Gomez was elected to the state Senate. So she's running unopposed in Ward 1. They cleared the path for her to walk in to the city council, just like she walked on to the committee. Her whole time on the school committee has been spent voting against the best interests of Black people.
Black people and families.
Yeah. Of her own community, against the best interests of Latinos.
Thank you.
And it's not just the vote she did on the police, on police having access to surveillance cameras. It's a host of different issues that she's voted on. She has been the reliable person to get the 4-3 block to vote in the interest of the white community for a school district that is over 75% non-white.
It's over 80% actually.
And here's the problem. And I've said this very specifically, that if there's going to be true collaboration between the Black and Latino community, there has to be a candid conversation about these type of shenanigans. And why, and we need to know why the Latino community has been completely silent.
Right.
On the way that Maria Perez has voted against our collective best interest, why they've chosen to her candidacy in spite of the fact that she doesn't vote in our best interest.
No,
And I've got a problem
I
with
do too.
with elected Latino
I do
leaders
too.
and grassroots Latino leaders who sit around and say nothing
Right.
about this type of stuff. So I put it out there. So if y'all thought I wasn't gonna say nothing, you know, you know,
But that's the Latino side. Like you said, she votes on against black and brown community, but with that white element that's out there, with those white folks that certain.
she has sat on this committee with these two black women and made a conscious choice
Yes,
to enforce the white woman who's
right.
against them.
Right. Who is not only a novice, but like I said, uphold the sentiments of white supremacy. How you gonna run for a school district that looks like ours, right? Looks like ours at large, and not know what the school to prison pipeline even is? She didn't even have a definition. She didn't even have a response on the school to prison pipeline. Thank God that Tracy is here. Tracy know, because she was the one who asked the question originally. In that first, I was like, is this really happening? I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. I couldn't believe it.
Introduce your guest. We're having a conversation like the audience knows. Of course, their names are probably there, but introduce your guest, please.
Hi. Hey, Tracy. It looks like Tracy is here. Tracy Whitfield, City Council at large. She's been doing an amazing job. This is her first term, and we also have Leslie Braxton Campbell on the line, Ward 3. Ward 3, right? I always get you and Janae mixed up. It's Ward 3.
Yep, the Ward
3, right? Ward 3 candidate running for Ward 3, and I'm just. Oh, and Zeta just joined us. Zeta Govan, she's out. A candidate out here in Ward 8. Hi, everybody. Thank you for
joining. Good morning.
So glad y'all had time to join today. So glad you had time to join today. We're down to the wire. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is election day. Listen, we just want to hear from y'all. As y'all know, we was able to put together the first ever historical black slate that was inspired by you. That was inspired by all 8 candidates that are running. And as we know, we have other black candidates that are running. But to me, in my humble opinion, you all were so much better to be chosen because you're not just running to achieve political office. You're running because of an undeniable love for your community and for your city. And you just want to see what's right and what's just and what's fair in this city. And we've seen all of that. Not just when you're running for office, but before or what led up to you running for office. All of you have a background in activism and advocacy and community work and organizing, and some of everything. And so all of you are role models in your own respective lanes, whether it be through your profession or whether it be through the way that you've just kind of grown and developed in this city. And I know because I've had the opportunity, and I thank God for it, to work more closely with each of you. And I just see it, and it's very inspirational. But anyway, we just want to have a little conversation today about tomorrow, and we want to hear from all of you about what we need to do. What do we need to do? What can we do as a community to support your candidacy, to bring you all the way to the win? But like I've been saying, Tracy, like I've been saying, Zeta, you should know this. And Leslie, I think you heard me say it probably yesterday, that this election is like no other. First of all, it's like no other that I've ever experienced in Springfield. And I don't think we've ever had a more important election. I don't think we've ever had a more important election, at least a municipal election that is, here in the city of Springfield. But it is imperative that we understand that we need to vote, but we need to carry out beyond the vote. So we need to stick together, we need to stay together, and we need to continue to support you throughout, your tenure, certainly in office. Like this is a long game. This is not just about winning an election. This is about seeing some things through and bringing some change to the city of Springfield. So we're going to start with you, Vice President, first Black woman Vice President, and the only Black woman right now on the city council. I heard somebody that's running against somebody that's on the line today. I heard her say, I think it's 2 or 3 Black women on the city council. It's like, no, it's 1 Black woman on the city council. And I'm like, how you running for city council and don't know as a Black woman and don't know how many Black women are on the city council? It's 1 Black woman on the city council, and that young lady is Tracy Whitfield. So Tracy, let's hear from you today about what we need to know, what we need to be doing right now throughout this election and then beyond.
Good morning, Lady Swan. I am so glad to be. What is it called now? Justice and Flow? Because the first time I was on, we were trying to get a name together. I didn't know what the show was going to be called. We was like the Slim and something or something. And, now we got the Justice and Flow. I like it a lot. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you for the invite to come on at any time and just talk to the community. I think most people know me, but for those who don't, I'm Tracy Whitfield. I'm a city councilor at large, first Black female vice president of the city council, and only the second Black female city councilor in the city of Springfield, female city councilor in the city of Springfield. Born and raised here, got my education here, even my college education at AIC. Finished off with a master's in accounting and taxation from AIC, raised my kids here. I'm a grandma now, raising my granddaughter here. I'm a foster mom. For some of you that don't know, I have 4 foster kids that me and my mom split custody with. Yeah, my nephews are 14, 11, and 2. And my niece is 7. So the 4 of them, we've been taking care of them for some time. And my mom has always been like in the foster care system and done that. So we love our people and we got to take care of each other. So as far as the election, I mean, you said some key things that I just wanted to highlight on. One thing that you said is it's an important election. And you said that we, the 3 of us, you've already seen us in the community doing work. We've already been out here. We didn't just pop up on the scene because of the campaign season. We didn't just pop up on the scene just to run. We've been on the scene doing the work. So people that know me and know my history know that I was doing the work before I ever ran. I'm not saying this to slight anyone, but I didn't come from a political background. Those that have, I really definitely appreciate them because they help through the process. So I go to the Justin Hurst, whose family's been involved for a while. I go to the Denise Hurst, whose husband's family's been involved for a while, to get some, information on how to run a campaign, because that's something that I didn't know. So I just wanted to say that I definitely appreciate those folks for the experience they have and the legacies that they have and they bring to the table, to be able to help us that don't have that background along. So I want to say that because some people I never had a political family as a slight, and I don't think it's a slight. I think everything that we all bring to the table is a gift. And so that's how we need to start recognizing things. Everyone comes with a different background, but people got to vote. They got to vote. That's it. And bring 3 people. One person, bring 3 people every time. Top 10. I like 10, but I'll settle for 3. Hey, you can get 1, bring 1. But it's definitely important. We need the votes. Like you said, we have enough people to vote. It's imperative because the way that the government is going at this time in the city of Springfield is just not in the right direction. We're not going in a positive direction. We're actually going in a more negative direction. And I think it's because a lot of things that traditionally has been done behind the scene has been brought to light, primarily by some of the counselors and some of the school committee members. And I think that because of that, we're forcing transparency out in the community, and we need more folks like that who's going to do that kind of work. Not folks that are saying we need to have the backdoor conversations and work things out. No, that's been happening for too long, because what is working it out if we can't work it out where everybody can see it, where we can't work it out in the public and in the community? Why do we have to do it behind closed doors? We shouldn't, because everything should be transparent in the city of Springfield, and that hasn't traditionally been the case. So it's definitely important for folks to get out in that aspect. And then I just wanted to highlight another point and then turn it over to my future colleagues, I'll say, on the council. I just wanted to say the most important thing that you said is the voting is not being involved in the politics of it all. When the voting is over, the work still needs to be done. The issues need to still be brought to the forefront. The calls still need to be made to the mayor's office to just really force what's right. We're not trying to force anything wrong. We want teachers and administrators on the school department to get merit pay or essential pay, a hazard pay, whatever you want to call it, give it to them. We have the money in the budget. I just got an email today saying, well, we didn't get that money for the school side. It's only for the city side. When we had non-bargaining employees on the city side that never went back to the office until the office opened back up. Yet you got teachers and educators and principals and staff, maintenance technicians, all IT technicians working on the computers, making sure our children are educated to the best of our ability in such a time that we didn't know what's going to happen. They don't qualify. And so we need voices. We need emails sent. We need calls made. Call the mayor. I cannot push the money forward. Right. I'm just telling you. I can bring the issues to the forefront. I can tell you what's going on as far as I know from behind the scenes, but I cannot make the final decision. That is the mayor. That is the superintendent. The superintendent also got other pots of money that he could rotate some funds off, maybe open up some pots of money for the merit pay and the hazard pay, right? And so that's something that we need to discuss. And I plan on having a finance committee meeting with the school department right after the election to just figure out what we can do, because these employees are worth it. And if we don't do what's right by them, we're going to lose them. Right. And so advocating and the advocacy part behind after the vote is over is much more important, or just as important, I'll say, as the vote itself. Right. We need all of us, and traditionally, so many of us have been left out. Mm-hmm. And so it's time for that to change. So please, guys, vote. It is important. Your vote counts. I know one of my colleagues won by 13 votes. If those 13 people decided their vote wasn't important, or 14 people, he wouldn't have made it. Yeah. He wouldn't have made it. So you're important, and everybody needs to know that. Everybody's so I'll pause. Thank you.
No, that was great. Thank you so much for that, Tracy. And I think, again, before we move on to Zeta and Leslie, I think, again, what you really brought out was the negativity and the direction that the city is moving in right now. And and so what I've seen is that because the city is moving in a certain direction that benefits a certain group or a certain community, right? But certainly continues to oppress us, our community, and those that are more vulnerable, to the oppression, so it could be white folks, for instance, they're working the school system, or whatever, but they're vulnerable to the decisions, the direction that the school committee may be taking, or whatever the case may be, or the city certainly may be taking as well. But what I do see is all of this money that's getting ready to be poured into the community that's supposed to go, back to those who have been impacted the most, certainly by COVID or whatever the case may be. It's like they are working hard to keep people like you, to keep Justin Hurst, to keep the Leslies from becoming, to keep the Janaes from becoming, to keep the Zetas from coming, because they know that y'all are going to advocate for what's fair, what's right, and what's just concerning these monies, these resources, and and everything that's coming down the pipe. So for the mayor and other sitting officials to endorse a novice, or whatever, and to endorse these people who are running at large, who are wearing their white hoods. I mean, like, they're not even hiding the fact that they're white supremacists, or whatever, and they're being endorsed by sitting officials. That's crazy to me. I can't believe it. When you
they're gonna do what benefits them. You know what I'm saying? So they already run in the same circles.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do what benefits them instead of what benefits the community, and that's what people have to wake up and see. Mm-hmm. Have you benefited, or how have you benefited on a grand scale? How have your community benefited these past, I'm gonna say, 12 years?
Yeah.
How has your community benefited, and you and your family? It's nice to know somebody's name and say, how's your family, this, that, and the third, send nice handwritten messages. But it's even greater when you're building up the community,
right,
when you're doing something grand in all communities. And I'm not separating or segregating, because I think we all as people deserve what we deserve.
Justice.
However, we have traditionally been left out of that equation. And when I say we, I'm talking specifically about Black and brown people. We have specifically been left out of that equation. And but I do see a little bit of progress with the brown people. I see some collaboration going on over there. Not as much,
as we want to see,
as we want in the Black community. But if we stay silent, if we don't use our voices, then what can we expect? You get 100% of what you don't ask for.
Right.
100.
That's okay. I love that. I think I need to get a T-shirt that says that you get 100% of what you don't ask for.
I ask for it all. Give it all to me.
I know that's right.
50-50 chance.
I love it. So we're gonna move on to Leslie. Leslie, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. I thought you was frozen. So yeah, I can hear you. Good. So listen, young man. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. I know how much I've seen it for myself. I know how much you love the city of Springfield, but I also know why you're running, for city council member of Ward 3. Tell us a little bit about Ward 3. Why you're gonna see it through. You're gonna see it through, and why your passion is even increasing. The more you get involved in this race. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, my name is Leslie Braxton Campbell. I was born and raised in Springfield. Last 4 years, I was a public school teacher at Kiley and Chestnut Middle School. I graduated from the Springfield Renaissance School. It was actually the second graduating class 10 years ago. So I am 28 years old, and this is my first time running for office. I saw my ward being left behind. Felt like we needed an active voice representing my ward. And as I said before, that wasn't to take like a jab at the leadership before me. That's just for me to say, like, it's just time for leadership and new voice, and for somebody that's going to work for all of my ward. So Ward 3 is the south end. It's the lower half of Forest Park, and it's also Maple High's 6 corners. Right? And depending where you are in my ward, you can see the difference in where the effort is. And you can also see the difference in where the need is. And I want to make sure that I'm representing everybody, and also bringing everybody's voice to the council and bringing everything to the council. Something that Councilor Whitfield said earlier about the backdoor deals. And, like, as I was listening in a forum one day, and somebody said, like, what people may not have seen what they've been doing, what they've been working. It's like, but that's the issue. We're tired of transactional politics, and it's time to go to a transformational system, right? To make sure we're working for the people, and it's benefiting all the people, not just the small, but for the majority. Yeah. And that is what I plan to do, and that is why I'm running. So, I've been doing work in this city since I was a teenager, throughout college, and that's when a lot of people met me. And it may not have been, all over Facebook or all over here. It's like, but I have been working, and those that see me, they know that. And I'm a person that said before, I look for the way that I can make the most amount of impact. So if that means that I have to sit on a call for 6 hours and testify on behalf of the bill, then I would do that. If that means that I got to stand outside in the cold to hold a sign, then I will do that. Like I look for the way to do that. So something that's not flashy, but making sure we're getting the work done. You know, and I've been doing that to these different community organizations, but it's time for us to have more people like that on the council. So I'm thankful for Councilor Whitfield already being there, and Councilor Hurst, and some of the other folks, you know, and I'm really excited for the team.
Yes.
Because I really just, the future is bright with us, and we're really at a turning point in the city right now, where we need some new voices, and we need people who are going to be focused on making sure that our city is growing and going in the right direction. You know, our demographics in the city have changed. And as the demographics are changing, though, we still see certain people still trying to maintain power.
Yes.
So to make decisions, and that time has come and gone. Like, we need people who are truly reflective of Springfield.
Yeah.
And so with that, you know, I have been campaigning really hard. I have made some decisions with my campaign. I mean, I have been the best sometimes, but I do truly believe I am the best. Yep, right. We live and we learn, right? But I do believe I am the best decision for Ward 3 going forward, and that I want that the voters I've talked to, they're ready for a change, they're ready for the leadership, and they're ready to see more active voices.
Thank you so much for that, Leslie. Yeah, I all I can say is I felt that, and I felt that for Ward 3, and I really like the fact that this is not against your opponent. This is nothing personal. You just feel like for your ward, the ward that you love, where you grew up, and the people that you know, they just ready for next level leadership. They're just ready for next level leadership. And you know, one of the things that my husband said to me, and Zeta, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm getting ready to move to you. But one of the things that, no, I think it was my husband, you know, we was having a conversation. Sometimes in these political seats, in these political positions, you know, certainly during a political career, if you will, we need to know when it's time to move on and seek other things, you know, or whatever the case may be. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but, you know, when you have a young man such as a Leslie, who's very passionate, like he's young enough to be my son, and I look at him as a son, and that's why I'm so proud of him, that he was willing to step up for his community, willing to step up, you know, to be that advocate and make that sacrifice that he feels is needed to take his community or take that ward to the next level in representation. So I think sometimes we just need to know when it's time to do something else and still play a role in supporting, and also just kind of look at it from the lens of what do I need to do, or what role do I need to play, or how do I matriculate to the next step in order for the greater good of my community, you know, to be created. And so those are the conversations that I think we're going to start having, right? We're going to start having so that, again, our community can continue to come together and build this power. And that's why we're also saying that it's going to take more than just electing you all. It's going to take more than just voting for you all, but also staying together and moving forward together, building more power as we move forward together. I wanted to say this too, Zeta, get ready. I wanted to say this too, that I don't think the community has ever seen anything like what's happening right now with the Dream Team. I don't think that's ever been seen before. I know that slates have been produced before, Tracy. I'm sure that you've been exposed to slates before. I did a little bit of research when I became a part of the divine community that created this slate, you know, or whatever. But I did a little bit of research, and I found out about slates being created before and how, you know, they were produced, but never seen slates come together. And I've never heard anybody say it either. Slates come together and truly support each other. even if they disagree with a tactic or a strategy or an issue or a policy, but still maintain, being together, being cohesive, coming together again, because the mark or the objective is to produce something for the greater good of the community. Not for an individual, not for a campaign, not for an election, but the greater good of the community. What can we do? Who can we get behind? We're going to get behind each other. We're going to stay cohesive. We're going to, stick with each other. And again, we're going to have conversations for the greater good of the community.
It's been interesting, Lady Swan. It's been interesting. I really have gotten an opportunity to know each and every one on the slate that you guys chose. And it's just been a wonderful experience. Just, sharing the love, sharing the resources, giving the positive affirmations in the morning. Like, we need all that. We got to keep our head up and to stay positive, because it's a tough job and it's a lot of work. Campaigning is not easy. So one thing that I wanted to say about Leslie is that he worked on my campaign team last time. And so I know what a wonderful, hardworking, and just great all around person that he is. Love him to death. I've known him since he was little, although we didn't know we knew each other, but I know his family, his brothers, his sister, and his mom, and so it's just like family to me. And so I know that he is just an amazing, amazing, amazing option, and definitely support Leslie just as he supported me. And it's just been a great experience. And one thing that going to the meetings that you put together, Sister Swan, that I didn't realize people didn't know is far. You got to go, Leslie. Did you want to say something before you leave? Let me pass this over to my brother.
Thank you for the amazing. Thank you, Tracy. I love you. I love you. I love you both. Thank you. I just want to say, make sure you get out and vote tomorrow. Make sure you bring someone to vote. Like they were saying earlier, try to bring 5 people. If you can't bring 5, bring 4, 3. Bring someone to vote. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you live in Ward 3, I ask that you please vote for me and make me your next city councilor. Thank you for having me, and have a good day.
Love you. So what I wanted to finish saying was, I didn't realize that people didn't know, like, there are 5 at-large candidate seats, but doesn't mean you have to choose 5 people. So if you don't believe in 5, if you believe in 2, if you believe in 1, if you believe in 3, vote for who you believe is going to get the work done, because that's where your energy should go. So if you see folks out here not doing having, not giving what you think that they should be giving to the community, don't vote for him. I also wanted to say hi to everybody that's listening. I see the comments, but I don't know how to chat back on this chat feature over here. I see Miss Sophie Jeffries, and I always want to recognize her because I love her so much. She does some great things in the community behind the scenes that folks will never know, and she has been since before I even was, old enough to, and I just love her, and I wanted to make sure that I appreciate her. And Angela's out there, and everybody that's just out there. And Whitney, your daughter, I think I always, is that her name?
Yeah, Whitney.
I always see her. So I just wanted to say that hi to all the folks that's listening, and hopefully I've earned your vote. If not, I'm still gonna work to. If I'm reelected, I'm gonna keep working. Oh, there he is. There he is. There our Bishop is. Hi, Bishop. I was like, you left us? What's going on?
I'm still here. I think we got Zayda on the telephone. I've been trying to work to get her on. Is that you, Zayda?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
We got her calling in. All right, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I just want to say thank you, Bishop and Lady Swan, for giving us this opportunity. The one thing that I wanted to do is to make sure that people understand that voter suppression is alive and well right here in Springfield, Massachusetts. The mail-in ballot scam that just happened this past year because of, in quotations, the pandemic. People are getting their mail-in ballots late. They got them without the proper zip code to return to City Hall. And I just got a call this morning from one of my constituents who said that she called City Hall and asked for the zip code. And of course, they told her, we might not get your ballot in time if you mail it today. So I'm actually going out there to pick up the ballot from her and bringing it down to City Hall for her. And I think that's something that we should focus on. especially today, especially the seniors and the people who are disabled and aren't able to get out of the house. If they have their mail-in ballots, they can certainly call me, call anybody on my team. We'll pick it up for you, bring it down to City Hall before 8 o'clock tomorrow morning so that your vote is counted. Because as we know, and Bishop says it all the time, if your vote didn't count, why are they working so hard to suppress it?
That's right.
And I always say, don't suppress your own vote because they're doing a good enough job as it is at suppressing our votes. So we need to make sure that we all get out and vote. Like everyone else said, bring somebody to the polls with you. Ask your neighbor if they have their mail-in ballot and they're not getting out. And they could complete it, seal it up, and you could bring it down to City Hall for them. That's something that I think is vital in this election. And as you know, I've been saying all along, I humbly ask you for your vote tomorrow on November 2nd for the Ward 8 City Council seat.
Thank you, Zeta, for reminding us of about the voter suppression that's happening right here in this city of Springfield. Oftentimes, because we live in a blue state, and we come from a pretty small city, municipality that is, a lot of us kind of look over those little subliminal ways, that the voter suppression, is taking place. But at this point, I'm telling people it was senior citizens that, was basically asking me to help them at church even yesterday. And at this point, I'm telling people don't even try to mail your ballot in at this point, have somebody like myself or, those that are politically involved, or whatever case may be, somebody you trust, a family member or whatever, to not only help you fill out your ballot, but, pick it up and bring it down to City Hall for you so that we can make sure that it gets there in time. Because if it's not reached at City Hall and processed by 8 p.m. tomorrow night, it's not going to be counted. And then the other thing is, even if you helping people fill out the ballot, listen, because they're not telling people this. If they don't sign it, they're not going to count it. If they don't fill the bubble out correctly, they're not going to count it. So you got to make sure that the bubble is completely filled in. That's one thing. You got to also make sure that it's signed, okay? You got to make sure that envelope is signed, okay? And then you got to make sure that it's sealed because they're not giving you these little detailed information. And so, like, if they get it and it's not signed and it's not sealed and the bubble's not completely filled in, it's not going to count. It's not going to count. So it's all kinds of very sophisticated, little tactics that are taking place, that will also keep your ballot from being counted. So again, it's not about just voting. It's knowing how to vote, how to, kind of work your way around all the suppression, or whatever, and staying with our candidates throughout. So thank you so much for reminding us about that, Zeta.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for this platform. This has been amazing each week, and the people who've been joining and just hearing their perspectives has been amazing. So thank you for doing this. Justice and flow.
Thank you for coming, Tracy. Listen, you my girl.
My girl. I was so sad I missed it yesterday, the prayer, because I had my 2-year-old. She don't know how to be still yet. I took her to church about a month ago, and this girl had me running through the church. I said, I've got to wait till you 3. I'm going to let your mama run behind you for now. So...
Well, yesterday was beautiful, but we extended the prayer to you also because we knew you was there. Certainly in spirit, there was one other person, Zeta. Actually, she couldn't make it yesterday.
Okay.
But we, definitely it was an all-inclusive prayer for certainly the dream team because y'all need it. Y'all need it, regardless of what happens, with this race. we know that you all are in it regardless, that this is your city. So you're gonna stay involved. So, we just need prayer. We need
Yeah,
prayer.
we got a couple special prayers yesterday. Pastor White, Pastor Cummings, sure my pastor Headley at my church, also prayed for us, and so it was just a beautiful day,
Oh,
like just full of the spirit and
yeah.
love, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And I wanted to say hi to my Aunt Juanita Beeman. I see you on there. And Angela, I see you done changed your Facebook cover page to Tracy Whitfield. I'm enjoying that. Everybody do what Angela did. Everybody do what Angela did.
Well, I got the dream team up.
Yeah. So I'm covered by you. I'm covered by you.
I got the dream team up, but I am excited about this. I just want what's right, and it happens. I happen to believe that what's right and what's best is at its core, it lies in these 8 candidates, and y'all happen to be Black, which is also an extreme bonus to have. You know what I was thinking too, Tracy? When we elect white candidates, and a lot of times it's Black folks that carry, that election, when we elect white candidates, we don't have to explain that they white and they right, or whatever. Why do we have to put so much, explanation behind voting for Black candidates who are right and excellent or the best, or whatever? Why we got to put so much explanation behind the fact that they Black?
I just want people to vote for people who they see doing the work. Don't just vote for somebody because they got a family name that's popular. Don't just vote. Like, do your research. Like, and if they happen to be white, then they're white. They're doing the work. If they happen to be Black, then they're Black and they're doing the work. Or Latino, whatever, Asian, whatever they happen to be. If you see them doing the work, just vote for them because they are doing the work. And you need folks out here, not just by name recognition and things like that keep getting in over and over again because of it, or just because they've been on the council for so long. Sometimes it is the new, fresh ideas brought to the council that makes the substantial change in the community. So we need that. We need the innovation, and we need that. And I've seen since I've joined, I've only been on the council 3 years, but since I've joined, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have come to the forefront. I'm actually proud to be a part of them, and I'm actually proud to be learning. And let me tell you guys something. I have never been a city councilor before. I didn't know what that role was going to entail. Everything can be learned. So if there's anything you feel in your spirit that you want to give it a try, you want to just try to do it, do it. Every single thing out here can be learned. Like, I can't go be a surgeon without special skills. But beyond like things that need special skills, you gain them, you earn them over time. Before I got into accounting, before I did taxes, I didn't know how to do these things, right? And so we all got to learn and build somewhere. So don't let the fear of the unknown stop anybody from doing anything. I'm going out here and I'm going to fight, and it's unknown what's going to happen in the end, but all I know is in my heart, I got that fighting spirit. I got people behind me like Bishop Swan, like you, Lady Swan, that will fight with us, that will call it out. Like, sometimes I can't be that mouthpiece calling it out like Bishop Swan can, but I'm actually, when he's right, he's right. When I'm right, I'm right. And just having that support is what we need, and we need it from the community. Like, if you see something, say something. We can't just stay silent with the things that's going wrong. Also, let's get to know people before we judge them. I got people that don't like me because of this, that, never spoke to me before in my life. You don't know what I've done, call me, ask me what I've done. I'll tell you, I'll share what I have. And then if there's something I haven't done that you want to see, tell me that too. Because I don't know what I don't know, right? Nobody is all knowing and nobody knows everything. I don't know what I don't know, but what I do know is I'll research it. I'll get back to you. And if I believe in it, because I'm not going to believe in everything and I'm not going to follow everything just because you brought it to me. But if I believe in it and I believe it in my spirit, I'm going to help you get there. It might not be at the forefront. I might not be at every meeting. I might not be at everything that you have, but I'm going to support you in some way. That will benefit you or lead you to someone who can get you to where you need to go. And so let's just do better as a community with the judgment. And, we out here judging each other, but let's judge the ones who's really doing the things that they shouldn't be doing. Let's turn that around. And then we got to make sure that our community, our Springfield, stay positive. We shouldn't let other people from different communities and different towns talk negatively about Springfield. So my first slogan was always Springfield, always positive. And wherever I go, if you're putting a negative spin on what you think or you perceive is happening in Springfield, I'm going to check you. So anybody outside the towns, this is for you.
Well, see,
I will check
they noise about the city, but they don't mind coming in here and working the job, the money out of Springfield.
Right. And that's why residency is very important, right? Especially in the police and community policing, because you're not as likely to just lock some cuffs or beat somebody up if they're your neighbor or they're your neighbor's son or daughter, right? You're not so likely to do that, right? Or your family member.
Less likely to go upside my son's head if you got to run into me at the grocery store.
Exactly. But if they don't know you, they might run upside your son's head, right? But people in this community know you, so it's gonna be like, hold on, let's take a pause, let's talk this out. Is there other things that we can do? Because that's what I have learned.
That's one year we were coming back. I believe we were coming back from the vineyard, and my sons Talbert, Tyler, and Trey were riding together, and they got pulled over. They got profiled. And they got pulled over, and the police asked them all for their ID. When they saw my son Talbert's ID and matched the names, they let him go. Now that's fortunate because that doesn't happen to every set of black guys that get pulled over. But they did recognize that name, and they said, "Okay, we better not mess with these guys."
Exactly. But it could have went another way.
It could have.
I'm saying everybody doesn't have a recognizable name. Everybody, doesn't.
It could have been recognizable, and then they could have, really took it to another level because they don't like that.
That could have happened as well. I guess the point I'm making is when police work in communities that they live in, and these people that they know that their children have to go to school with their children, and they go to at the grocery store or the gym or at church when they're off duty without a badge and a gun. It's a different mentality than when we're coming into Springfield, which has been labeled as some jungle or something, and we're just 9 to 5, and we can crack necks and go upside people's head and go back to Enfield and Longmeadow and East Longmeadow and Wilbraham and other places and not have to see any of these people or their relatives and friends.
Yeah, my son was also profiled. Him and his friend, they were driving, so he called me immediately like, I think this cop is following us because his friend had a registered plate, but it was from Georgia. I said, let him follow you right to my house. You and your friend come and you pull up into the driveway. And so they did. So I immediately went outside and I was like, hi, I'm City Councilor Tracy Whitfield. And he was like, oh, no. What were you just doing? Because they weren't speeding. They weren't doing anything. It's just driving while black. Like, what were you just doing? Like, I'm not understanding this. Oh, no, his license plate is from Georgia, but it's registered. So what were you just doing? Have a nice day, ma'am. You too. But, sometimes you have to pull out that car. I was profiled because I was driving a car, and it was young officers on Andrew Street, right? And so they pulled me over. It wasn't my car, and I stopped. Oh, we're giving you a ticket because you didn't stop at the stop sign on Dawes Street. I most definitely did. There was a car in front of me stopped. I had to. And then when he pulled up, I stopped because I seen you guys. And he was like, I was like, no, you're over here with your cameras, a new rookie officer profiling this area. Why are you here when there's speeding and accidents on Parker Street? When there's things happening everywhere, why are you here?
True story. I don't know if they hadn't met their quota or what was going on. They had a set of speed traps one morning, and this is Planet Fitness is now, when it moved from Cottage Street, it went out to the Springfield Plaza before it moved to Boston Road. I was going to the gym one morning, leaving from Indian Orchard. I got pulled over on Berkshire. Pulled out my license. The cop saw who I was. He said, "Have a nice day." I kept going. I got pulled over a second time in 10 minutes on St. James Avenue. I wasn't speeding, nothing. Same thing. Have a nice day. I left the gym coming back home and got pulled. I got pulled over 3 times today in Springfield without speeding, breaking any laws, or anything. So it's real out there. This stuff is real. Really all the time. Imagine if it's happening to me and my car, my car stays legit because I don't want them any.
You can't afford it not to.
So my car is registered, it's insured, my inspection sticker is on tap, there's nothing, no strikes on my license, and I can only imagine if they pull over a black man, because I know they ran my plates before they pulled me over, but you know, it's a black man driving in a Benz, so maybe I must be selling drugs or doing something like that, and I can imagine what they're doing to our young people on a daily basis.
Yeah. I was at level 5 one day, in there having some dinner, and I guess the area was being profiled that day, so they stopped these 2 young Latino boys, pulled them over on Andrew Street, so right on the corner, so I can see it through the window. So I go outside. It's C3 police, so I'm going over to talk to them, and shaking their hands, and then like 3 other cop cars came. I'm like, wow, for this one pullover, these boys were just sitting there doing nothing, and so they weren't like being aggressive or anything, and so I went and shook the new officer's hand because it was new officer. Then I got a call from the commissioner saying that I was interfering with the police stop, and that one of the officers, who's a C3 officer, was intimidated by me. And I was like, oh, he was intimidated by me because I have a gun, because I'm here to serve and protect. He was intimidated by me. And she was like, and I'm gonna send you a letter. I said, okay, send me a letter. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but anytime that something is happening and it's in my purview and I could stop someone from like maybe getting killed or something like that, I'm going to step out there. So I did go to the car, which I shouldn't have. I learned that. I spoke to Sergeant Cook, who's another C3 officer, but he said I can stand out there and I can watch and I can film and I can tape. That is within my right, as long as I keep my distance. Because I was telling the boys, I was asking them some questions too, like the car wasn't registered. They took the car and the boys walked because they were like in walking distance to where they were going. But I was just like, so you felt intimidated by me coming out here, because if I wasn't out here, I could tell in his mentality that he was going to get stern, stern beyond what was necessary. Because when I say the guys was honestly just sitting there obeying everything, but his line of questioning, I heard his tone, and then when I standing there, he softened it. He softened it and tried to give a little example of what should be going on or whatever, but that's not normally how it goes. Like, it's not always the person being pulled over who's the aggressor. It's not always that. So it's a portray that if you just listen, if you just follow direction, if you just follow the rules. No, but why do we have to? Why do we got to get pulled over because our inspection sticker expired? That's not why you're pulling us over. You see a black face behind the inspection sticker, and that's why you're pulling us over. Right. And why does us as parents, why do I got to worry about my son driving in my car if my inspection sticker expired one day? Why do I have to worry about him not coming home because of that? This is just not a fair life to live. We are always in this distress because we got to think like this. And so when they say there's no racism in the police department, it's false. There's racism throughout the city, throughout the town, throughout the administration. Is racism. I lived it. I worked there. I went through it. I know exactly what it is. And so for those who want to come out on the scene and act like this is not real and you want to change the word and make it nice, you can change it all you want. But the fact still remains that it exists. And so, and these are things we got to talk about. The only way we're going to move past them is to talk about them, is to come to an understanding. across the board with all cultures and diversity overall. But I'm a Black woman, so I only can tell my experience as that. You can't expect me to come on here and talk about anything else except that. But I got so many of these stories that we just don't share because we want to like hide it and we want to stay in the clique. I'm not in nobody's clique. I'm gonna put that out there too. I'm in Tracy Whitfield's camp. Okay. Throw that out there. But there are certain people that I support and I follow and I respect because of how they handle themselves and what they're doing for the community overall. So I just wanted to say those couple of things. I do got to skedaddle soon, but it's been amazing being with y'all.
Before you go, because actually
in overtime, so
well, yeah, we are in overtime, but I think it's important. I want to say this though before you leave, and I don't know if Bishop and I are gonna continue to have a conversation for a little while longer when you leave. But while you're still on the line, I just wanted everybody out there that's still listening. If you're connected to Springfield, if you live in Springfield, listen. Not only is it election day tomorrow, and we're trying to encourage you to go and vote if you didn't participate in the early voting process, or whatever. So we definitely want you to vote. We want you to bring somebody else to vote. If you've already voted and you don't need to go and vote tomorrow, even if you do, we still have opportunities for you to help us in getting the word out, bringing other people to the polls, certainly standing out for candidates like Tracy on today and tomorrow. So if you need to get in touch with Tracy, can you give them your contact information? Or you can definitely get in touch with me and I can give you some further information and how to help out today and tomorrow.
I think that would be the best way because you can help all candidates, like if they want to talk to more than just me. But anyone who wants to get involved with my campaign, just email us at electtracyw, and Tracy is TRACYE, electtracyw@gmail.com, and someone will be in touch with you. I was giving out my phone number like all the time, but then I started getting these text messages from a certain person, so I was just like, I'm gonna just cool that for a little while.
We can say her name.
No. No, I don't do that, but
because we get them too. We get them too from her.
Then I just got one final point as far as media goes. We do have to start supporting media outlets that support your community, that tells the truth about your community. So that's why I like to read Point of View and Metro Record and some of the more ethnic newspapers, because they tell about what's happening in your community. They tell the truth about things that you may not get at some other media outlets. And so we just always got to try to be positive out here about Springfield and not all the negativity that's happening right now. Just because I don't support someone doesn't mean I dislike someone because I'm not supporting you. It doesn't mean I dislike you as a person. I just feel strongly about what the other person is doing and what they can bring to the table. And I have that right, and so does everyone. You have that right about me and anyone else. So it doesn't mean I don't like you as a person, because I think that every single one of us has a gift to bring to the table.
Right.
It might not be politics.
Right.
It might be behind the scenes work. It might be the behind the scenes work is more important than being out here on this camera any day.
Right.
Any day. They're the real workers. And just like I was trying to tell people, like, you see all this legislation coming forward from counselors and other state reps, they get it from you.
Right.
They get it from you, but they're the person who has to push it forward. Right. So a lot of times it comes from just regular people's ideas, and then the candidates are the ones who push it forward. So just like Black Lives Matter and things like that. It was Chad Jacobs who was like, you guys need to do something about Juneteenth. And I was like, we do? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on it. I didn't wake up and say, ooh, I need to make Juneteenth a holiday, make sure the municipal employees get off. But when he brought it to me, I said, I'm gonna fight for that because that's important.
Yeah.
And so just keep bringing your ideas, guys. And, and just know that we get a lot of our inspiration right from you. And so we need to continue to get that and support and vote tomorrow, 7 to 8. And please vote for Tracy Whitfield, vote for Justin, vote for Leslie, vote for the Dream Team. I can't remember everybody, but Ayana, Denise,
I can't.
Jada,
Call all their names.
I know you're gonna do all that. So yeah, just vote for the Dream Team. If you don't have the Dream Team information, please get in touch with Sister Swan. And I just really appreciate the time that you and Bishop gives me personally all the time, and I really just love you guys.
No, we love you too. We love you too.
Right, all right.
Keep up the good work, Tracy.
Thank you.
You represent us well.
Thank you.
All right. So you gotta go to work. So I'll see you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye bye. All right. This is somebody asked. Somebody said, I vote on the South End. Who are the people I should vote for? Okay, that's interesting. Kenny Davis said, I vote on the South End. Who are the people I should vote for? Listen, I don't know what ward that is. I think that's Ward 1, actually. I think South End is Ward 1, if I'm not mistaken. And that's okay, but so I don't know your ward, Kenny, but I can tell you this for sure. You need to vote for Justin Hurst at large. That's everybody throughout the city. That's an at-large candidate. You need to vote for Tracy Whitfield, who just left. She's at large. He's Ward 3? Then that's Leslie Campbell. Mark, if he's Ward 3, that's Leslie Campbell. Okay. So you need to vote for Justin Hurst. You need to vote for Tracy Whitfield. And if you're Ward 3, Miss Sophie is confirming that. So if you're Ward 3, Leslie Campbell, who was on the line earlier today, he is running for Ward 3 City Council. I personally believe that he would be a great choice for you to vote for. Also, for school committee, it is critical. It is absolutely critical that you vote for LaTanya Monroe Naylor and Denise Hurst. So let me repeat that again. So there are 10 people running for city council at large. You can vote for up to 5, but we definitely need you to vote for the 2, okay? Which is Tracy Whitfield, Justin Hurst. For your ward, which is Ward 3, Mr. Davis, and that's my maiden name, as a matter of fact. We need to find out if we're related. But for Ward 3, you should probably most likely consider, and I'm not going to bite my tongue on that, but you should vote for Leslie Braxton Campbell. He is running for Ward 3 Ward 3 City Council, and he was on the line today. I don't know if you got to hear from him or not. And then definitely for school committee, you need to vote for Denise Hurst and LaTonya Monroe Naylor. LaTonya Monroe Naylor and Denise Hurst. That is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. So that's the answer to that question.
All right. So we did the after show and the after show. I thought I just heard something. Okay. So next week, we'll do the recap it'll be after the election. So we'll be able to, of course, you'll know who won, but we'll be able to kind of give you our feedback in terms of what the new council and committee will look like.
Oh, Lord, no. That's not good. That's not good, Mark. That's not good, Mark.
So in any case, y'all get out and vote tomorrow. Don't make any excuses. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you've got an opportunity to get out there and make a difference in your community. Please do that, ma'am. Please do that, sir. It is your responsibility. And you know, I remember when I had turned 18 and was eligible to vote. That first election, I had something to do. You know, I was a college student, and my mother said, "No, Negro, you going to vote before you do anything else." You know, people died, for you to have this right to vote. And I voted in every election for the past 40 years. Well, not quite 40, but close to it, because of that sacrifice. So don't let their sacrifice be in vain. Get out and vote.
Absolutely. So if you need to get in touch with me so I can give you some Canvas information, some standout information, some poll work information, please go to your Facebook page or profile, or however you do that. Look for Cynthia Davis Swan. Cynthia Davis Swan. Oh, and phone banking information as well for these 8 candidates. Like I said, it's not the end all be all, but these 8 we definitely need to see on the city council and the school committee. The school committee, listen, if we mess up the school committee, we gonna be in a world of trouble, like the old folks say. We gonna be in a world of trouble if we let them mess up this school committee. I'm telling you, it terrifies me. I'm not gonna lie, it terrifies me if we let them take over the school committee in this way that they're trying to take over the school committee, and if we don't prevent that from happening. So please vote for Ayanna Crawford in Ward 2 and Ward 8, District 4 for a school committee. Vote for Denise Hurst. Vote for Latonya Monroe Naylor. I don't care about nobody else. But vote for those 3 women. Definitely vote for those 3 women. And then on the city council, you got to vote for Justin Hurst. You got to vote for Tracy Whitfield. You got to vote for Janae McDonald. You got to vote for Leslie Braxton Campbell. You got to vote for Zeta Govan. You got to. It's a must. They are must-haves. They are must-haves. So.
All right, good people. That's it for Justice and Flow for this week. Next week, we'll see you same time, same bat station. Looking for a place to worship? Check us out at Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, 11 o'clock a.m. on Sunday. And we'll be streaming live as well. Be back with you if the Lord says the same at 9 a.m. With the spoken word on Monday, and then at 10 o'clock a.m. So we out. Till the next time we talk to you and you talk to us. God loves you. So do we. Deuces.
Love you, Springfield.